This is the flight path of the helicopter carrying Kobe Bryant and 8 others, which crashed near Los Angeles. It's a common route, spanning an area well traveled by aircraft every day. So we wanted to understand how, despite this, such an accident could occur. Using a chartered helicopter, flight tracking data, and images from the day, we've retraced the flight path to examine the conditions that may have led to the crash. The helicopter took off from John Wayne Airport in Orange County. Its destination, another airport near the sports academy which Bryant owned. The first half of the flight is uneventful. The terrain here in the Los Angeles basin is flat. That makes it relatively easy to navigate, even in overcast weather. Bryant himself made the trip routinely. On the day of the crash, the weather in this area is fine. There's 4 miles visibility. Within 13 minutes, the helicopter passes by downtown Los Angeles, passes Dodger Stadium, and begins to enter the San Fernando Valley. The terrain begins to rise. That day, air controllers tell Bryant's pilot to stay in a holding pattern over the city of Glendale.
Hold outside Burbank Class Charlie airspace. I have an aircraft going around.
They circle for more than 10 minutes as other air traffic is cleared. It's around this time that a retired pilot on the ground happens to film the helicopter overhead. We can see in the footage that the sky is considerably overcast. The pilot receives special clearance to continue on in the low visibility weather and flies into the San Fernando Valley, following the freeway system along the edge of the foothills. We can see the densely populated terrain is still low and flat. The weather for our chartered flight is clear, but images from the day of Bryant's flight show that visibility has become extremely limited. One reason? If we pause and pull up, we can see that the Pacific Ocean is just on the other side of these hills. Cold, moist air coming off the water and hitting the mountains can quickly form thick and low cloud cover. With a lower ceiling and higher mountainous terrain, there's now a much smaller path to safely fly. Roughly 3 minutes before the crash, the helicopter begins flying along Highway 101.
I don't see where else they could go around that.
The highway is a distinct landmark that's easy to follow, and it runs through a low point in the foothills, making it easier for pilots to stay below cloud cover. Bryant's pilot had requested flight following, where controllers track an aircraft to help the pilot during rough conditions.
Our rear.
Just before the crash, the ground controller tells the pilot he's too low for tracking.
That's going to overfly that ditch again, right? Still too low level for flight following at this time.
The pilot radios that he's climbing to avoid the cloud
level. That's a perfect shot right there.
The helicopter quickly gains altitude. At about 2,300 feet, it turns away from Highway 101 and crashes into the side of a hill. The debris field is around 500 feet long. Investigators said that the helicopter may have missed clearing the top of the hill by 20 to 30 feet. They still haven't determined a cause for the crash.
Extra traffic Bonanza 444, 3-mile final straight in on the runway 36.
72 Echo X-ray Burbank Tower, Burbank altimeter 3019, Burbank Class Charlie, surface area is IFR, stay intentions.
Okay, I got that.
Special VFI transition on the 101 November 2 Echo X-ray, hold outside Burbank Class Charlie airspace. I have an aircraft going around.
Shots of it.
Echo X-ray holding.
Video of the ditch as well, right?
Yeah.
Because there were takeoffs and landings, I guess, happening at Burbank at that time. Is that why he had to hold?
Burbank, Van Nuys,
where,
obviously LAX.
There's breaches, shoot us all over it.
So there's a lot of air traffic in the area. And because he's in a very congested airspace, he's talking to the controller, and he wants to go through the Burbank airport's
airspace. Guess we need to pick out any site that might be broken for sure.
Air traffic controller is saying,
running over.
Not yet, hold.
It's going to be a little bit. I got a citation on a 9-mile final, and then the go around that I just had is going to be turning base to final in about 3 minutes.
Okay, we'll continue holding.
Good enough angle for your camera shot there in the back?
Here the air traffic controller is telling him what other traffic is in the immediate area and describing to him
about this
traffic that he may see and that needs to be avoided. And then the pilot acknowledges that transmission.
November 2 Echo X-ray, and for your planning purposes, you can expect to transition to the north side of the airport. I just spoke with Van Nuys on the line, and they've got multiple IFR departures coming off of runway 16, so you can expect to follow the 5 north and cross that way.
2 Echo X-ray, no problem.
Okay, so the air traffic controller is assuming that the pilot is in visual conditions and can see the interstate, the 5 north. And he's again describing the air traffic in the area and telling him how he's going to avoid that traffic by following the 5 north to the north side of the Burbank
part of the
Airport
whitewater
and
off
Van
that
Nuys
thing.
Airport.
Yeah, the ripples.
317 pop-up Burbank Tower. You can expect a few minutes. I got a special VFR helicopter I need to get transitioning. He's been holding for about 15 minutes. South, northwest, follow the 5 freeway, maintain special VFR conditions at or below 2,500.
Maintain special VFR at or below 2,500, I-5 northbound 2 Echo X-ray.
Number 2 Echo X-ray, roger, and you're clear to Burbank Class Charlie surface area from the southeast to the northwest.
Copy that, we'll maintain special VFR, copter 2 Echo X-ray.
So that is the Burbank controller telling the helicopter, again, to follow the Interstate 5 north of the airport and to maintain visual conditions, special visual conditions, not instrument conditions. Right. So he's not authorized to fly into clouds at that point. Or,
what's this ditch to our right?
Different than regular VFR, right?
there are different rules, but it's still
channel?
visual.
Yes.
So he's got to be able to see outside. He can't
I'm still trying to get this other one. It's agricultural one.
He has to maintain
the one on the left is a
certain
Little River
distances from
drainage,
the
right?
clouds. And as you just heard, he was instructed to follow the freeway, so he's got to be able to see
I'm
the
not
ground.
either.
We have a smaller drainage ditch that cuts straight
for
to the
your
south, and then
transition
joins
Camarillo.
the big.
Did you just want to follow the 118?
Over here to the right. Which way
118, and then we'll look for
We need to follow the
to
big one
catch the 101.
and see if it's breached anywhere.
It
looks pretty good from here. I mean, I don't see any fields.
All right, so here again, more
looks like what we're
highways
dealing
in
with is just
Southern
agricultural
California,
levees that have gone.
the 118, the 101, and the helicopter. The instructions from air traffic control in the controlled airspace are to follow those, and the helicopters acknowledging that you can see and follow those. All right, so here, the Burbank controller gave Kobe's helicopter instructions to follow, again, to follow the interstate so that he's got to be able to see it in visual conditions. And he changed his frequency. In other words, he told him to talk to the next controller, and he terminated radar service. So that means he's outside of the controlled airspace for the Burbank Airport. He's going to go talk to the controller at the Van Nuys Airport, the next town over that has an airport, and he's going to maintain visual conditions.
How close are we to Katrin?
We're ways.
Van Nuys helicopter 2 Echo X-ray with you for the special VFR transition. We are currently at 1400.
Helicopter 72 Echo X-ray Van Nuys Tower. Wind calm, visibility 2 1/2, ceiling 1,100 overcast, Van Nuys altimeter 3016. Cleared into Van Nuys Class Delta, northeast of Van Nuys along the 118 freeway. Westbound, advise when you're in VFR conditions, or when you're clear to Van Nuys Class Delta, transition at or below 2,500.
Left a voicemail.
2 Echo X-ray, advise in VFR condition, and then we'll stay on the 118.
They'd probably be interested in what's going on north of the stuff there, where all that water was feeding into Morehouse there. Now this is a whole different look on the north side.
Yeah, I don't see anything here. Let's go the other way.
All right. You want to stop recording for a minute and save space?
Okay, there's a lot going on there, but he's talking to the next controller at Van Nuys.
Stop recording.
She's giving him the weather. She's telling him where the ceilings are.
Until we get back to the
she's
north.
telling him to maintain that special visual condition and to let her know when he is out of the special visual condition and into visual conditions completely. Now, he's not authorized to go into instrument conditions. He's not authorized to go into the clouds, in other words. He's got to maintain the special VFR, the special clearance. Again, she's telling him to follow the highway, so he's got to be able to see that highway visually. And she's asking him, do you want to talk to the next controller? Because once he leaves controlled airspace, he's not required to talk to the next controller. But he says, yes, I do want to talk to the next controller when I'm outside of the restricted controlled airspace.
Tower for 2 Echo X-ray, can we go ahead and start turning to the southwest close to 11?
Helicopter 2, Echo X-ray, approved, and are you transitioning in VFR condition?
VFR condition 1,500 to Echo.
Helicopter 2, Echo X-ray, thank you. Contact
You can fly me just about 5 to the left there, Mike.
34-2.
To the left? Yeah, I want to fly straight on so I get a good shot of that levee.
Yes, so he wants to turn to the south and follow the other highway. And the controller asks him specifically, are you in visual conditions? And he says specifically, yes, I am. She says, very good. Talk to the next controller at SoCal, Southern Cal Approach, and she gives him the frequency to call that controller. And so he's going to switch frequencies, and then he's going to call the SoCal controller next and talk to him. And this is the last controller he's going to talk to.
X-ray ident.
So here we're only hearing half of the conversation. We're hearing the SoCal controller acknowledge the transmission from Kobe's helicopter, and he's saying, he's giving the call sign, Echo X-ray ident. He's saying, show me where you are on radar. There's a button in the cockpit that the pilot can push that makes the radar hit kind of bloom and gives a signal to the controller. It's not unusual that we're not able to hear the pilot, because the controller in SoCal Approach has receivers, like microphones, all over the place, so that the transmissions to the controller are seamless. So if there's a hill in the way or there's interference, there's microphones on that radio frequency where the pilots can talk to the controllers without interruption. But the microphone recording this was not able to hear the pilot. So the controller can hear the pilot.
I don't see where else they could go around that if they did open that.
Recording for this video could not hear the pilot. So that's the difference. And people may make the mistake of thinking that the pilot either wasn't talking to that controller,
can you cut back,
or that there was an interference, or that he was too low and shouldn't have been there.
6 o'clock again.
Okay. Yep. That's not necessarily true. It's just that the microphone that was recording this transmission couldn't hear the pilot. But the pilot was definitely talking to the controller, and the controller could definitely hear the pilot, because you can hear the controller's end of the conversation. It's like hearing only half of a phone call, right? And recording only half of a phone call. On this recording, only half of the phone call is there. Okay. But the other half was definitely happening because the controller was talking to him. Okay. Until a certain point, obviously, and then it becomes obvious when he doesn't respond.
X-ray, yeah, you're still on a 1200 code. Are you requesting flight following?
Okay,
so again,
I got that.
You can't hear the other half of the conversation, but he's talking to Kobe's helicopter.
Would that be south?
The air traffic controller is talking to Kobe's helicopter, and he's saying,
yeah, going down to left,
here's the code
just follow that
1200.
ditch.
All right. It's a general visual code. And he's asking, do you want flight following?
Yeah.
What do you want me to do, in other words? What are you asking for? And we can only hear the controller's half of that conversation.
He said shoot where there's breaches. Shoot, it's all over it.
That's saying it looks like it's down just a touch, but
2 Echo X-ray, what do you say intention?
North of 60, it was just basically over.
Only the controller's half of the conversation, and he's saying, say intentions.
Guess we need to pick out any site that might be broken for sure, rather than just running over.
Okay.
And presumably, the pilot responded with his intentions, you know, that he was going to Thousand Oaks. But again, we're only hearing half of the conversation.
2 Echo X-ray, you're still too low level for flight following at this time.
For your camera shot there in the back?
Yeah, I believe so.
So the helicopter, it's apparent to me, asked for flight following, asked for the controller to help him out and keep him clear of other traffic and keep an eye on him. But he was too low for. The controllers have rules on when they can do that, on when they can issue flight following, when they can give those instructions. He was too low for that at that point, and that's all we know from that transmission, right? He was too low for flight following, but he didn't tell him that he was too low to the ground, that he didn't tell him anything else, just that you're too low for flight following. So that's We can't surmise anything other than that from that half of the conversation.
At what point do we see that rapid descent?
So you're not going to be able to see it on this version, but it's been reported
still
that
in, according to the whitewater off of that thing.
The radar hits come about every 6 seconds, 10 times a minute. So what you would see is an altitude, and then 6 seconds later, a much lower altitude, and then 6 seconds later, a much lower altitude. Depending on how many hits it was for, you would see that. It may have only been for 1 or 2 hits, 6 or 12 seconds, when the altitude goes down significantly. But I don't have that information on this recording.
But when the controller is saying that you're too low, at that point he probably already dropped significantly, right?
Not necessarily. You'd have to know the controller's rules for flight following, right? He could have been at the same altitude he was at before. He's just too low for flight following. So you can't draw any conclusions from that, except exactly what the controller said. You're too low for flight following.
What is ditch to our right?
Helicopters typically fly low, right? That's what they're designed for.
Is that the
to
main,
get into
main
and out
channel?
of places where airplanes
No, not yet.
And so,
I'm still trying to get
again,
this other one.
You
It's
can't draw any
agricultural
conclusions from that.
The one on the left is a little river drainage, right?
So too low could mean 100 feet or mean 1,000 feet. Or
yeah, I'm not either.
Anything.
We don't know at this point.
We have a smaller drainage ditch that heads straight to the south.
And again, that's part of the NTSB's investigation is going to determine
ditch over here to the
what
right.
altitude
Which
is
way
too
you
low
want
for
to
flight
follow?
We need to follow the big one
and is that
and see if
instruction
it's breached anywhere.
It looks pretty good from here. I mean, I don't see any fields with any water on it.
And then
looks like what we're dealing with is
point,
agricultural
in the
levees that
if
have
you
gone.
play again, there's a note that comes up and says radar contact lost.
This
And what
main
that
drainage
means is
ditch
what I
here
just
looks
talked
good.
about. Every 6 seconds, there's a radar hit.
I mean, it's well below the fields.
It's the code of the airplane and its altitude are being looked at by the air traffic controllers. And at this point, that radar contact is no longer there. And that we can infer a couple things. Either one, he was too low for the radar to see him, or he was too low for anyone to see him and he hit the ground at that point. Right? And correlating the last radar position with where the crash site happens is something, again, that's going to be done as part of the investigation.
How close are we to Katrin?
2 Echo X-ray SoCal.
We're a ways from Katrin. Yeah,
Okay.
it'd be down here.
May send Captain Ryden's a message right quick.
Okay.
Telling him that I tried to get hold of the representative and left a voicemail trying to set something up for this afternoon, but I had to leave a voicemail.
Okay. They'd probably be interested in what's going on north of the stuff there.
Yeah.
Where all that water was feeding into Morehouse there. Now it's a whole different look on the north side.
Yeah, I don't see anything here. Let's go the other way.
All right. You want to stop recording for a minute and save space?
Going to stop recording.
Sir, is it all right with you if we stop recording on here until we get back to the north?
William, Inlow, 1028 James and Karen, Inlow, Springfield 2005 Saturn Bay. All over the roadway. Make your own case, Story State Police Council, KSB 235.
Fly me just about 5 to the left there, Mike.
To the left?
Yeah, I want to fly straight on so I can get a good shot of that levee.
Usually shoot the camera out to the left.
I end up getting a skid in the way all the time.
Okay.
Left downwind to runway 36, pick to go. Mayfield, the aircraft are 3 Lima Alpha, 2 miles south for left downwind 18, Mayfield.
Yeah, this will be good. It'll give me a good angle.
444, Whiskey Romeo is 8 miles south of the airport for the practice arm runway 36. Dexter.
Start circling around. We'll shoot it from the other side as well.
Okay, go ahead. I'm locked on. That's where it gets hard to see the camera. Well, they did put built it up quite a bit since we left last night.
I don't see where else they could go around that if they did open that.
On anything at all?
No, can you cut back down towards our rear? Go to our 6 o'clock again?
Yep.
That's going to overfly that ditch again, right? Yeah, that's right there. Oh, that's a perfect shot right there.
Extra traffic, Bonanza 444, 3 mile final straight in on the runway 36. Extra.
Okay, I got that.
Okay.
If we could just head, would that be south, I guess? I'm screwed around on my direction.
To the left?
Yeah, going down the left. Just
Okay.
follow that ditch.
All right.
I'll get some shots of it.
Video of the ditch as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Dude, he said shoot where there's breaches. Shoot, it's all over it.
That's what I'm saying. It looks like it's down just a touch, but north of 60, it was just, you know, basically just overtook it all.
Guess we need to pick out any site that might be broken for sure, and would rather just run it over.
Okay. Right there, Mike. Got a good.
That give you a good enough angle for your camera shot there in the back?
Yeah, I believe so.
Can you keep about this in the bend there?
Nope.
It just looks like it has a lot of low spots and on the ditch. A little spill over here.
It looks like it's still spilling in, according to the white water off of that thing.
Yeah.
The ripples.
and I'm
I was just getting an email or something.
What's this ditch to our right? Is that the main channel?
Yes.
I can fly in to the south.
No, not yet. I'm still trying to get this other one, this agricultural one. The one on the left is a little river drainage, right?
I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Now we have a smaller drainage ditch that heads straight to the south, and then this joins the big drainage ditch over here to the right. Which way do you want to continue to follow?
We need to follow the big one.
Okay.
And see if it's breached anywhere.
It looks pretty good from here. I mean, I don't see any fields with any water on it.
Yeah, it looks like what we're dealing with is just agricultural levees that have gone.
Yeah, this main drainage ditch here looks good. I mean, it's well below the fields, as far as I can see. Zoom down pretty far. Except I got the wire cutter in the way now.
1126, 945, KW 270.
How close are we to Katrin?
We're a ways from Katrin. Yeah,
okay.
it'd be down here.
May send Captain Ryden's a message right quick.
Okay.
Telling him that I tried to get hold of the representative and left a voicemail trying to set something up for this afternoon, but I had to leave a voicemail.
Okay. They'd probably be interested in what's going on north of the stuff there.
Yeah.
Where all that water was feeding into Morehouse there. Now it's a whole different look on the north side.
Yeah, I don't see anything here. Let's go the other way.
All right. You want to stop recording for a minute and save space?
You want us to stop recording?
Sir, is it all right with you if we stop recording on here until we get back to the north?